so ominous. Hey, friends. I just had a guest say, well, good luck right before we went live. And I feel great about it now. Hey, friends. All right. You may have noticed I've been hosting a lot of live streams this week because there are a ton of authors in this Kindle Flash Sale that is happening through this Thursday. 56 books, in fact, are discounted to 99 cents. Some are $1.99, depending on the size of their Kindle file. That just means they have a lot of awesome images. And I have been inviting a few authors at a time to join me on a live stream to learn a little bit about their books, why they joined the Kindle Flash Sale, and kind of how do they even manage to become an author? Because I know some of you listening are interested in doing that yourself. So if you want to check it out, go to kindleflashsale.com. And without any further delays, let me introduce our guests. Karen, go ahead and introduce yourself. And in particular, I'd love to hear who your ideal reader is for your book. Welcome.
Sure. Well, terrific. Great to be with everyone. My name is Karen Kaufman. My business is impression and relationship management and how that supports performance and leadership success. I've been in business for over 30 years. I've provided executive coaching over 20,000 hours and have led and designed over 1,000 seminars. So my book is called Magic, Making a Good Impression Count on and Off the Golf Course. Why did I write the book? I wrote the book because I wanted to see if I could put 30 years of lessons and insights into a short, punchy, provocative book using golf as a metaphor. Why golf? My hobby is golf. And I took it up at age 40 and I started to see the consistencies and the similarities between people's behavior on and off the course.
Awesome.
And my other goal is to get more women in the game because it is a terrific business tool.
Thank you so much.
Your question is, who is my ideal reader? My three main audiences. One, professionals that are looking to advance their career. Two, golfers or want-to-be golfers that want to accelerate the learning curve of playing golf. And third, people that are interested in personal growth, which I'm sure most of your authors are.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. Lisa, welcome. Let's hear a little about your book title and who the ideal reader is for your book.
All right. Well, I am Lisa Ryan, Chief Appreciation Strategist at Grategy, and I work primarily with manufacturers to help them keep their top talent from becoming someone else's. So that kind of answers question 2. But my book, Gear Up for Greatness, How to Transform Workplace Culture with the 6 Gears of Grategy, is actually book number 12, but it is my first work of fiction. So I had a blast writing it because I just wanted to go into how the 6 gears of Grategy were discovered on the manufacturing floor. But of course, being a nonfiction girl, I couldn't leave nonfiction behind. So at the back of the book, there is actually an implementation guide. So we have the best of both worlds. My audience is really manufacturing, construction, or the skilled trades because that's where the story takes place. But for people who really like business fables, it's a really fun read and even better to write. And I think the most fun part of it is that I actually have a section called Where Are They Now? So I took it the next step into the world of reality and had a lot of fun with it.
That's awesome. Susan Friedmann, why don't you introduce your book title and your...
Yes, thank you. Good to be here, Robbie, and my other esteemed authors here. My book is the Peep Business Plan, 16 Simple Strategies to Succeed as a Young Entrepreneur. And in fact, I published the book through my publishing company, Aviva Publishing and Marketing. And I did it to honor a dear friend, a colleague, and also my editor for 20 years, who passed away last year with a brain cancer. And she wrote the book prior to passing away. She finished it. And so to honor her, wanted to get it published. It's a passion project. It sort of just even talking about it makes me want to tear up a little bit, because it was very sad, very sudden. Aviva Publishing and Marketing, I work with nonfiction authors and to help them publish their book, and also look at how they can sell their book in bulk. Forgetting about selling books in onesies and twosies. I'm all about selling books in bulk. How can you do that? I have 18 books, and my very first book, I actually sold 500,000 copies to one company. And it's that strategy that I teach my clients. Not that I'm saying that they will get 500,000 copies sold. However, it's easy to sell 10 copies to one person than one copy to 10 people. So I'll leave it at that.
We were about to all come banging down your door to figure out how to sell half a
I'm
million
okay
copies.
with that.
Susan Schramm was like, yes, I want that. Susan Schramm, kindly share your book title and go ahead, Susan Schramm.
Okay. So yes, it's lovely to be with this amazing group of insightful authors. I wrote a book called Fast Track Your Big Idea. It is basically navigate risk, move people to action, and avoid your strategy going off course. So the promise is that you will, in many cases, have an idea that doesn't go as well as you'd like, or you'd want to make sure you avoid it going off course. And my target client actually is somebody, a reader, is the same as my clients. People with a vision, who have a very strong opportunity to change the world, or even a little idea that has potential, but are frustrated that it's not moving fast enough. And I find that kind of person can have different roles. CEOs, boards are often in that role, leadership teams. I work with nonprofits as well as for-profit and the faith-based communities. And in all cases, the common denominator is they often skip the people side of risk. In fact, they're often avoiding talking about the risks. So really what I'm doing is helping create a way for people to comfortably address the risks proactively, and at the end of the day, find themselves being able to navigate if things go wrong down the road.
Well, thank you. Wow, this is quite the expansive kind of list of books here. Let me come over to Karen, because Karen, you've been part of the Kindle Flash Sale before. So I'd love to hear a little bit about why you signed up. How does this fit into your overall sort of business, marketing, book marketing plan? What was it like to collaborate with so many authors? Did it feel competitive? Does it feel supportive, etc.?
Sure. Yes, I certainly took a risk in doing this. And when you said to reduce your price to 99 cents, I was one of the people that said 99 cents is certainly worth more than that. But then I said, what could I learn here? So writing the book was one thing. Marketing the book is something else. My undergraduate degree is in marketing, so I enjoy the process, but somehow this is business, a different kind of business. And Susan, I agree with you. The way to sell books is definitely in bulk. That's how I've sold most of mine, but I am interested in other tips. So Robbie, what I like about this is that you have really cultivated authors that are thoughtful, that are supportive, and that want to see each other succeed. So I feel a part of the community, or a community. I didn't really know the value of getting reviews, but through you and your guidance, I just got 9 reviews since Sunday. I sent it out to my friends and I said, if you have a moment, I'd like your help. Not friends. I mean, these are clients. These are, I have a very large network. So on Sunday, I sent it out to 80 people. And I realized that it's a way of staying in touch with people, whether they do it or not. It's to
Right.
let them know I'm thinking about them and that I'm out there. So at a time in the year where it's a little slower, it was over the Thanksgiving weekend. I thought this is a great time to reach out to people and let them know that I'm grateful for them. So part of this journey, and it is a journey, is experimentation. And not everything's going to work, but I believe in progress, not perfection.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am engaging with all of you, and I know that I can learn from each of you, and hopefully I can contribute something also.
I saw you had over 30 global ratings in your book, and that your number had just jumped because I had seen it like a couple weeks ago. I love that you took my suggestion seriously, because
Yeah.
what people don't know who are listening is that I have been lining up authors for this campaign since August. And I told all of them that I would need them to lower their price 2 weeks beforehand, and that they could then use that time to try to get some more reviews. If they get 4, 5, 9 reviews in that couple week period, it'll help. But if you do that 3 times a year or 2 times a year through these campaigns, that's part of the overall effort to raise visibility for these books. Coming back to Lisa, how did you get pulled into all of this? And why did you say yes to doing this? I mean, you've got a successful business. You clearly know a lot about books. you've had a lot of books in your life. So tell me how this fits in with your overall strategy for marketing.
Well, I've seen you do a couple different Kindle Flash sales, so I had a little FOMO when I saw my friends' books up online, and just wondering how it went. So it was. I really, really love marketing. I love everything about it. So always looking for different ways to get the word out, to get my message out. And it's kind of funny because with the 99 cents, of course, the book's worth more than that online and everything, but I give away so many of my books, and I give away during my programs. It's kind of my ethical bribe to get people's email addresses by giving them a PDF copy of my book. So I have just found that when you're sharing stories, when you're sharing knowledge, when you're sharing yourself with people, they get that little bit of insider's view of you. And, hopefully they like me enough that they want to come and invite me to speak and buy books for everybody. So it's a win-win.
Right. If they don't know you exist, or if they know you exist, but they don't know you have a book, or if they know you have a book, they haven't bothered to read it, like
Right.
they can't help you. Like all these steps have to be passed in order for them to become either a prospect or a referral partner. And so you're out there just trying to get the message far and wide. I think that's what you're doing. This is just a creative way to do that.
Yep.
Susan Friedmann, I've often described you as a marketer who ended up in publishing, which is really different than I work with a lot of publishers or assisted self-publishers or whatever word they would describe themselves in the BizBook Pub Hub that I founded. And I found that most of them fall into marketing after being a writing coach, or they fall into publishing after being a writing coach. So you're a marketer, and I know you believe in that. How did you get the idea to include your friend's book in this as a way to kind of bring some visibility? And also, you didn't really share who the book was for, so I'd love to hear a little more about it.
Yes. Excuse me. It's for young entrepreneurs, people who are starting out in business. The beautiful thing is that what Jane did was to take nursery rhymes and associate that with different aspects of, entrepreneurship, such as Bo Peep and her sheep building a business plan, or Cinderella Solutions sharing experience. So she's got 16 of these in here, and she had an incredible sense of humor, and that comes out in the book. So why and Jane was very much about young entrepreneurs. And everything that she did was associated with how could she help young entrepreneurs. So the book fits in beautifully with that. Why be part of this flash sale? My whole concept with the book is awareness. All the profits of the book are going to charity. And, I do say that in the book. And marketing is like planting seeds in a garden.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one seed that I planted in this garden. And this is a very robust garden because, as Robbie said, there are 56 other authors, or 55, including Jane's book, that are part of this. And it's all about synergistic marketing. And because we've got 56 of us who are doing marketing in our different ways to get the word out, I mean, it's extraordinarily powerful. And if you think that as a minimum, we all know about 250 people. So you start that multiplication. But,
Mm-hmm.
some people have just got that number in their families. So, yeah. But we know hundreds of people in our businesses and in our personal life. And so, yes, putting it out there, 99 cents. It's a bargain. You can't afford to miss that. And there are some extraordinary titles that you've managed to, get people to participate. Robbie, I mean, you're a genius. I mean, anything Robbie does, I'm like, okay, I've got to be part of Robbie's team here. So, yes. So I'm
That's
a Robbie groupie. So
that's a lot of trust you've built up together, because I feel similarly to you. And, one of the things that we didn't mention here is that it is possible to buy Kindle books as gifts. And it's right on the sales page for the book. You just scroll like a little below where you would hit buy, there's an option to buy as gift. And when you hit that button, you either can put an email address and have Amazon immediately send it like a gift card. And then you may have to tell them to look for it because it may, end up in their promotions tab or something. But you can also ask to just get the link. And you can, whether you buy 1 or 50, you get a spreadsheet, a CSV file, and then you could individually send those links out. So I mention this because it's a great way to give gifts to clients who already have your book. They don't need another copy of your book, but maybe because it's a wide variety. I mean, we were talking earlier about the book that Karen is doing with a focus on golf. So that's a clear, easy gift to give. There's another book called Hate Football, and it's for those who have loved ones in their lives who are not avid football fans, while they are football fans, and you want to have everyone enjoying the experience together. She speaks on that topic as one of her many topics in her business. So I think there's a lot of really fun things in this that we can use as gifts and little thank yous to people in our lives, whether it's a more serious topic or not. I want to come to Susan Schramm because the timing of this in relation to your book launch is fantastic. And I've known a few authors who purposely timed this way. I don't know how conscious you were about the flash sale when you were figuring this all out. I know you followed steps in my book because we've talked about that. Congratulations. You have like dozens. You've got over 60 reviews on Amazon last I looked. Tell us a little bit about how this is continuing that success and the timing of when your book was released to when this was starting.
Yeah, and I am a Robbie groupie too.
Y'all are going to make me blush.
And, with his first book about Big List, Little List, and it was interesting after decades in corporate to have my own business for the last 10 years and realizing at some point that you really have more it's a relationship business at the end of the day. It's not all about consumer. It's really a relationship business when you do B2B, which is my focus. And so when I started to write the book 3 years ago, not knowing it would be 3 years, I did, over that time, Robbie's most recent book and his book launch came out. And so that's when I really started to realize your system of visibility, because I really didn't have, I knew I needed it, but I was writing the book. So what happened is part of the book process, I very early on said, I'm not going to put all this energy in and not have a plan, but let's be open to seeing all the variety of ways to achieve it. And so that was really using your most recent book, launch your book. I was going to say launch my book. That's what the book is to me. Launch my book, which was a step-by-step process to really enlist your network to help you create reviews and create visibility very quickly, which achieved, the hot new release and rankings in the top 5 in different categories. I was all over the world, and so that was a very important sort of baseline. But the idea that this could be the next step, and what I loved about it was it wasn't about me. I love this model. Even getting the reviews was all about helping others who are driving new strategies be equipped. And that's how I got comfortable with asking for reviews, because it wasn't about me. And this whole model is about, hey, I'm part of something that can serve you. And the message is growing is never done. And so whether it's you growing or whether it's you helping others to grow, the flash sale is another gift that we can give people we care about. So I've gotten comfortable with the posture, and the people in the group are all very purpose-led, and I just love that about it.
I consider you, and we didn't work directly together, but I asked you to come and do a video testimonial, because I'm like, how cool this is like the biggest compliment any author can have. Someone reads your book, follows your process, and has success. And around the time that we were recording your video, a testimonial, you were about 50 reviews, and you've got like another dozen since then. I mean, like,
and you keep raising the bar, telling me how Amazon different. Like I was
yeah, you get to like 85, 100 reviews. It'll push it out even further. Right. I mean, part of the key here for all of the authors in the Kindle Flash Sale is that one of the metrics that Amazon's search algorithm, which decides where you show up on the search page, one of the metrics is recency of reviews. So quantity of reviews, quality of reviews, meaning how many stars, recency, and then percentage of verified reviews. Well, those last two pieces, the flash sale is really helping with, because even if you get 5, they're going to buy the book as they're leaving them, because it's 99 cents. So it adds yet one more verified review. And since other times of the year you might be doing bulk sales, which Susan Friedmann and Lisa Ryan, you're both saying, great idea. Karen, you know you're doing, right? When you're a speaker, bulk sales is a big piece of it, but those don't count as individual sales when people are leaving reviews. I still want those reviews, but how do we keep the percentage of verified reviews up? Well, a few times a year you pay attention, right? And you try to get a few more. And this is the only time I'm thinking we need to do individually focused sales. I'm really with you on the idea of like getting more than one sale happening at a time. But the hope is that this will open the door to more of that. Now, I wanted to shift the conversation a little bit to thinking about other metrics. Like how do we think about metrics for success? I mean, obviously, Susan, you've swallowed the pill. I don't know which color, blue or red. I've lost track now. But you've swallowed the like must-have reviews. But you didn't have that initially. Can you just say, like, was the #1 bestseller ribbon and #1 new release, was that actually a thing you originally thought was going to be important and then it faded? Like, how did you first think about?
Exactly. I mean, we haven't talked about that, but it wasn't even on my radar. My biggest goal in writing the book was to get it into the hands of people beyond me. My metric is I'm trying to normalize the conversation about risk. I find that risk conversations are scary to people who are trying to do something new and get other people to move with them. And I really am trying to change the nature so that leadership actually includes conversations about risk very comfortably. So my metric is how many different kinds of leaders do I reach? And the idea is, in my consulting, I can only reach so many people. This was a really way to reach different segments, different ages. And so my metric will, over time, is reach. And then obviously I'm using the book as a way to pre-qualify people to work with me personally, because one thing about my book is it's very actionable. People open the book and will call me after a little bit of time and go, I'm using it already, which is, I'm applying de-risking, which is the system I provide. They apply it quickly. So the question is, okay, someone who actually takes action is a better prospect for me than someone who reads the book, buys a whole bunch of these and does nothing with them. So I just thought, in a way, it's not just a calling card, but it's a pre-qual plan.
Hey, Lisa, you've had multiple books. I imagine your understanding of what's important, what I think of as metrics that matter versus vanity metrics has changed. Lisa and I also know each other through the National Speakers Association. By the way, David Newman, who's also in this Kindle Flash
Yes.
Sale, and I feel like I have to say in front of Lisa, David Newman, CSP. He pointed out that the people who ranked the highest, Susan Friedmann, the people who ranked the highest on the leaderboard that I sent out yesterday were all the CSPs in this campaign. And he caught that. I hadn't caught that. And that says something about, like you built a network, you've got expertise, people trust you, you're like putting links out, you're following the steps. But you've done a lot of different kinds of books. And how did you come to the realization of what metrics matter for your business? Like, how do you measure the success of any of these books?
It was funny because the first 5 books that I actually did in 5 different ways. So my very first book was, I did an anthology. So, I wrote a chapter. I did strictly an ebook on smash words. And this was 2010 when I literally had to follow 94 pages of instructions to upload my ebook. But the funny thing is, I have not even thought about that book since 2010. And I still get a royalty 4 times a year for 17 cents or 48 cents. It's amazing. So
take that to the bank.
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
So I had the Kindle book. I turned one of them into the workbook that went along with that. And I've had Vanity Publishing. Now I self-publish. And I just think it's the love of books. I've always loved reading, and I feel the need to hold a new baby book in my hand every, 18 months to 2 years. So actually books number 13 and 14 are in the process of being written because it's been a year since Gear Up for Greatness came out. And my number one thing, I know that Susan said that it never dawned on her to get the number one spot. That is my goal. It's like number one bestseller on Amazon. I don't care if it's for 5 minutes. I get the screenshot,
Right.
Mission accomplished. I can go on with my day.
Yeah.
So it's, again, when you have a marketing mind, it's all about marketing. And I can say, that I have a best-selling book. So there you go.
I think what's so funny is that that's usually the only thing people think to do. And it's just so fleeting, as you said. I mean, it's little as an hour.
Yeah.
I got a screenshot of my book in a marketing category in front of Seth Godin and Malcolm Gladwell. Malcolm Gladwell has 2 books. Seth had a new book as well. So I think 4 of their books were in the category in the top 10. And I managed to be number 1 with Malcolm Gladwell's books being 2 and 3 and Seth being 4. And I grabbed that screenshot. It's actually rotating on my LinkedIn profile, but it's not still there. But what is still there is 246 reviews, right? So that's the longevity piece. I
do have to say one thing about that. I had one of my books, The Verbal Hug, came out, and I was battling it out with Maya Angelou. The week that she died, somebody put like a tribute to Maya Angelou. So I had to just work that sucker until I
oh my gosh.
got the number 1.
I had a book about Zoom come out right as ChatGPT hit, and everyone was using ChatGPT to write books about AI prompts. And all the categories I was planning to use were technology focused, and it was flooded. But here's the thing, AI crap is AI crap. My book,
right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, AI crap was the biggest problem with my book launch was that I ended up getting rejected 3 times in 2 days from Amazon. I couldn't figure it out. And we finally figured out they were putting higher bars to prove you were real, to say you weren't, an AI book. And it was eye-opening.
It's getting a little more stringent. Susan, we mentioned just briefly here the idea of compilation books, and I know it's something you've been really active in. A number of people in the room have participated in them, but Susan Friedmann, you've actually organized them. And I like asking you this question because I believe in your ethics, and I know that there are a lot of times I just tell people like, oh gosh, like, if you have $3,000 to burn, like, I'll take it and spend it for you. Like, but like, what are you doing with, like, what is the promise of this? And is it being is it going to be helpful? So how do you help people think about whether a compilation book is a good idea for them in that moment? What are some success stories you've heard from how people have leveraged that? And I know that it can also be a gateway to people actually writing their own solo books. And that part I love that part, because it helps them get their ideas out and they're not as nervous about it. So Susan Friedmann, if you could just share a little briefly about that experience.
Yes. So for me, it was very theme based. And that would be, my suggestion for anybody who would be interested in compiling one is that, or being asked to contribute to one, what's the theme? Who's the audience? How is it going to be marketed? I mean, all of those things are really, really important. As you know, Robbie, for 25 years, I was involved in the trade show industry. And so my books were all about the trade show industry. And so anybody in the book was somebody involved in the industry.
Brilliant.
So, and they weren't authors, and that was the hardest thing, because they were suppliers to the industry. So they did need help with writing, but still it was all for that particular marketplace. And people were giving them away. I mean, this was something, especially for suppliers, they bought the books and they gave it away to their clients. So it was a beautiful gift.
A built-in marketing plan.
Yes.
That is the best example of a compilation book I've heard, is like a built-in audience, a built-in marketing plan, companies with budgets, buying them in bulk, giving them as gifts. That's not usually the case.
Not usually the case, but it's something to consider.
Yeah, it can be. It's a creative.
A success story. And who was it who said they were in the compilation book? Karen, I think it was you, or Lisa. Yeah. And then you decided to write your own book. So that happened to several of the people who appeared in the books, that they then wrote their own book. And then one lady in particular wanted to get to be a speaker at conference and had been turned down several times. As soon as she said she was the author and showed that, and that she was part of this book, all of a sudden the floodgates opened for her and she got onto the speaking circuit. And she was thrilled to pieces. So you just never know where that's going to lead, but it gives you enormous credibility. I mean, Robbie, I don't know if you were part of NSA, National Speakers Association, and Lisa, maybe, when people didn't have books who were speakers. Now, if you want to be on the speaking circuit, you have to have a book.
Right.
That's why, celebrities have all got books. They may not have written them, but that's a different issue. But it gives you enormous credibility that you are an expert in your field, and that book shows that. So, yes.
When I joined in 2015, I heard the mantra over and over again: you need a book, you need a book, you need a book. So I started finally working on the book. And I've been speaking on the topic, on the side for years, and like full time for a couple of years. So what they didn't tell me was what to do with the book. And I finally write the book. And then I have this revelation as I'm about to hand it off to the editor for the final review, that it's a good book and I want people to read the book. Like it just dawned on me. I mean, like I just hadn't thought of it. And I thought, like this publication day that I've been counting down to is the latest day to market my book. And I just had that flash. And I happen to really like marketing way more than I liked writing, particularly back then. So I created my first launch was, I basically gave myself 6 weeks, and I set a really high goal of 100 reviews, and I met it. It was through a lot of mistakes, but I met it. And I learned from that. I mean, you have to learn. I want to come over to Karen, because Karen, before we went live, you said you've been part of quite a few of these compilation books. And I'm wondering how that factored in as you were deciding to write your own book. As Susan Friedmann said, is that part of the on-ramp into this world of authorship?
Well, I co-authored a book called Women in Partnership. I've written a reflective response for a nursing handbook, because I've worked with a number of nurses over the years that were moving from clinical roles to leadership roles. So I'm part of 2 textbooks there. I'm part of a sales book. And yet I wondered, I really did it as a challenge to myself. It was one of the things that was on my bucket list, even though I had written a master's thesis on the impact of casual days for women in organizations. So my background is image, impression. I work with a lot of people on how they package themselves, their brand. So I wanted to incorporate in one book what I've learned over the years, and I'm finding great fun with this. I'm getting to meet a lot of new people. I'm doing more speaking engagements on the golf course. So I'm in beautiful places. I just got booked at the lodge at Woodlock in the Poconos. I was there with the Forum of Executive Women, and it's a fabulous spa. And I knew they had speakers. So I brought my book, Magic, up there. I met the person in charge of programming. I gifted her a book with a nice note. She said, I'm looking for 2 evening 1-hour seminars. And if you want, you can offer individual consultations. And so I'm going Father's Day weekend with my partner. And we have 3 days, 2 nights, 2 rounds of golf. And I just have to do 2 speaking engagements. My book will be in the bookstore.
I love this.
So, yeah, but I think my book needs to get in the hands of different corporations and professional organizations, because it's a terrific tool to help people build business and build relationships. So you're giving me an idea, you and Susan, that I think I could even be doing a lot more. I've sold thousands of books so far in the last year. My book's been out a year. Because people are buying 50, 75, 100 when I speak.
That's great.
But then there's the sales that are on Amazon, which I think is less than I've purchased for these speaking engagements. But what I didn't understand is, do they publish non-verified reviews as well as verified? So
they're all on there. Yep.
They do both.
Yeah, there's always a couple of reasons reviews won't show up. Like if someone hasn't spent $50 on an Amazon account, then they can't post. Sometimes they're accused of too many violations and that account can't post. And if it's too flattering to the author, too promotional, and not really about the book at all, then it'll get flagged. So there's a few reasons it might get flagged, but otherwise, non-verified reviews absolutely show up. And it's all part of the, Susan Friedmann was saying, like, not everyone had a book back then and now everyone does. How to differentiate yourself is, 2 people show up with the same topic. One has 83 reviews, one has 8. And that could be the difference.
Yeah. Well, you were speaking about the National Speakers Association, and I actually got into the National Speakers Association. I've been a member for a year, although I've known about it for 30 years. But it wasn't until I wrote the book that I thought, you know what? A keynote address is different than a day-long seminar, is different than a 2-hour seminar.
Yeah.
And why not get paid as much for a keynote address or more than I was getting paid for a day-long program? So I'm all about efficiency and effectiveness at this point.
Well, folks can tune in to nsaspeaker.com/join if you want to check that out. And of course, kindleflashsale.com. Check out all these books. Panelists, I just want to thank you. This has been a really rich conversation. I love the creativity. I love the fun. I love the spirit. Like, there's a lot of fun brought into this. I think that's something, when you're slogging through writing a book, you should know there's some real fun on the other end of all this. So thank you very much, authors, for joining us. Folks, go to kindleflashsale.com. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Until next time.